didn't choose E because I read doctors as all doctors,
Okay.
which I didn't. I thought was too strong. Or like saying all doctors give the perception that they don't care about their patients is just not true based on the passage.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if I had just seen that as like doctors, meaning like it could just be some doctors.
Yeah, I think this is really tough because there are definitely situations in the LSAT when they say doctors, they don't quantify it and it means all. I would say in most cases it does. So I think this is speaking about the group collectively, like just doctors in general.
So if we wanted to be like LSAT specific, it really would be like some, right?
Yeah.
In this case, yeah.
Yeah. But it's deceptive because they do this, where they say, cars are red, and you're like, how does that help? You're like, oh, well, it's all cars are red. And technically that's correct. No quantifier is all.
So whenever there's a game, when it's in a game section, assume that doctors would mean all doctors, right?
Yeah. Although in the game section they're generous to us and they almost always say each or every, just to clarify. Maybe because there's this potential ambiguity.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't. I chose B, but I thought that was too strong. Like I didn't think the economic incentives. Nothing said that they encourage the doctors to. Like
content-wise, that's
we don't know
off.
why they regard it as a science, but I was like, well, E is too strong. We're talking about all doctors.
Yeah.
So
is that why you didn't pick E either?
When can you tell? Or when would it be? Is there anything just aside from?
I would say that E is
removing other answers.
Here's okay, this is what I think it is. I think that when you don't have a quantifier, and that would include at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence, because sometimes you don't have it at the beginning, but you can see it later, right? Doctors sometimes or tend to, and then all of a sudden it's been knocked down from all to occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you have to do is you have to look at that sentence and say this could be all, or this could be some, which is unfortunately a big difference. But if none of the other answers provide content-wise a correct option, then interpret it in terms of some.
In the correct way for it to be true.
Yeah, say like, okay, well, but if we had two answer choices and they were both really good, then I might actually say, oh, they're going further with this one. I would bet that in any case where there's confusion, you're not going to have two really close answer choices. In other words, these other answers don't work content-wise. What answer did you choose?
I chose B just because E was just the same reason as Rich said. I just said it was too strong, like the whole thing.
Yeah, the content is going to
yeah.
trump this, right? Because there's no evidence.
So you're thinking
this.
that when it is pretty ambiguous like this, all the other answers would either be just off.
Because you could interpret this
on like
as
a clear distinction, or okay.
Yeah, only because that's a possibility. Like if they had said in E all doctors, then this would be definitively. There's no like, oh, well, it could be interpreted this way or it could be interpreted that way.
Then there would be another answer that would be better than.
There would have to be. You'd have to just like say, wait, unless of course there was evidence for that. But they say many doctors and they say harried doctors, right? These are not all doctors.
Okay.
And do they want you to get tripped up on that?
I don't know, because I have noticed this before.
And I mean, I feel like I in particular get tripped up on things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get stuff wrong just because like I'm reading like too much into an answer codes or whatever. But like, I don't know.
I think this is one of the challenges with the test, and that is that it'd be nice if there were sort of hard and fast rules, but since it's always a situation of what answer choice is better than the other four, you can have answers that are clearly wrong in one context, but clearly correct in another, just because relatively speaking, they are better, even though they're so much stronger or so much weaker than that other answer in another context, which turned out to be right in that context. Kevin?
Could the sentence, lawsuits could be avoided if doctors learn to listen better to their patients? Could that be interpreted in a way like that?
To be all doctors?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, although It just says, so if we put an all in
And it
front,
also says that there are malpractice, so there are lawsuits. It's not that there aren't lawsuits, so there are lawsuits to be avoided.
that's true, although that's part of the necessary condition, right? So the sufficient says if doctors learn to listen better to patients. I mean, even if you put an all in front of that, right? So you say if all doctors learn to listen better to their patients, that doesn't necessarily mean that all doctors need to.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're coming back to this kind of like not perfect answer. This is also probably why this question is not a must be true question. Because as soon as it becomes a must be true question, it would be like games, right? Instead, it's a supported question. Which one of the following, or the statements, if true, most strongly support which one of the following? Doesn't have to be proven. So, Rich, I think it's about the continuum. We have to get comfortable with the. But there are, bottom line, let's just end this with this. There are definitely other instances in which I've seen things where technically I'm saying to myself, no quantifier, this should be all, but there's no other way to interpret this except for some. So this is not like the first time.
Right.
And I think they're going off the fact that sometimes when we communicate with each other and we say, you know, lawyers are doing whatever, we're really just saying some. We're not saying that's true for every single lawyer. But it's a little sloppy, and that's what I think the LSAT's trying to overcome. But there is a potential to interpret language in that way.
Right.